Dandar Pranam, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prem Prakash Das Prabhu.
Mathaji, Dandar Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Mother.
Hare Krishna, let's start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Cha Udire Ashtaprashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, Chapter 2, verse number 2. If anyone wants to read the verse, you can please raise your hand. Chitra Mohini Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna,
Please.
Mother. Pranams, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Vishnu Duta Uchuhu. Aho Kashtam Dharma Drusham. Adharma Sprashyate Sabham. Yatra Dandaishva Apapeshu. Dando Yedriyate Vrutha. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Pranani Madhvi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम माताजी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री विष्णु ऊचुः अहो कष्टं धर्मदृष्टम् अधर्म स्पर्शते सवाम यत्र दण्डयेषु अपापेषु दण्डयेर्ध्रियते वृथाः हरे कृष्ण माताजी थैंक यू माताजी
Thank you, Krishna. Prakash Rao Prabhuji, Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी धन्यवाद प्रणाम्स
Then-
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री विष्णुदूत ऊचुः अहो कृष्णं धर्मदृशं अधर्मस्पृशजिते सभां यत्र दण्डेषु अपापेषु दण्डो यतेन्द्रियते सुधा हरे कृष्ण माता
Thank you. Usha Devati Mataji, Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Vishnu Duta Uchuhu. Aho Kashtam Dharma Drasham. Adharma Sprashta Sabam. Yatra Adandeshu. Apapeshu Dandaye. Vritaye Vritaha. Thank you Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Madhumati Vilasni Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय श्री विष्णु दूता उचुः अहो कष्टं धर्म दृशाम अधर्म स्पृशते सभां यत्र दण्डयेष्व पापेषु दण्डो यद्रियते वृथा थैंक यू माताजी हरे कृष्ण
Krishna. Shri Vishnu Duta Uchuhu Aho Kashtam Dharma Trisham Adharma Sparshate Sabham Yatra Adandeshva Apapeshu Dando Yedriyate Vritaha. Shri Vishnu Dut Uchuhu, the Vishnu Dutas said, Aho, alas, Kashtam, how painful it is. Krishna, Dharmaktusha, of persons interested in maintaining religion. Adharmaha, irreligion. Sparshate, in affecting. Sabham, in the assembly. Yatra, wherein. Adandayeshu, upon persons not to be punished. Apapeshu, who are sinless. Dandaha, punishment. Yai, by whom. Dhriyate is being allotted. Vritaha, unnecessarily. Translation by His Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Vishnu Dutas said, Alas, how painful it is that irreligion is being introduced into an assembly where religion should be maintained. Indeed, those in charge of maintaining the religious principles are needlessly punishing a sinless, unpunishable person. Purport by His Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Vishnu Dutas accuse the Yam Dutas of violating the religious principles by attempting to drag Ajamil to Yamaraj for punishment. Yamaraj is the officer appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to judge religious and irreligious principles and to punish people who are irreligious. However, if completely sinless people are punished, the entire assembly of Yamaraj is contaminated. This principle applies not only in the assembly of Yamaraj but throughout human society also. In human society, properly maintaining religious principles is the duty of the king's court or the government. Unfortunately, in this Yug, Kali Yug, the religious principles are tampered with and the government cannot properly judge who is to be punished and who is not. It is said that in the Kali Yug, if one cannot spend money in court, one cannot get justice. Indeed, in courts of justice, it is often found that magistrates are bribed for favorable judgments. Sometimes religious men who preach the Krishna consciousness movement for the benefit of the entire populace are arrested and harassed by the police and courts. The Vishnudutas, who are Vaishnavas, lamented for these very regrettable facts. Because of their spiritual compassion for all fallen souls, Vaishnavas go out to preach according to the standard method of all religious principles. But unfortunately, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, Vaishnavas who have dedicated their lives to preaching the glories of the Lord are sometimes harassed and punished by courts on false charges of disturbing the peace. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjan Chalakaya Chakshiranmiltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Krishna, I'm sorry. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Tadati Sapadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastite Taptakanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishpanuste Devi Pranamami Haripriyayi. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री साधि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे. The Vishnudutta said, Alas, how painful it is that irreligion is being introduced into an assembly where religion should be maintained. Indeed, those in charge of maintaining the religious principles are needlessly punishing a sinless, unpunishable person. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, which is called as the Prescribed Duties of Mankind, chapter 2, which is called as
Ajamila delivered by the Vishnudutas.
Very nice. Thank you. A Jamil delivered by Vishnudutas. What did you study yesterday? What did Sukdev Goswami say?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes,
Sukdev Goswami said that the servants of Lord Vishnu, who are expert in logic and arguments, after hearing the statements of Yamadutas that Ajamila should be taken to Yamaraj for punishment for purification, because he did not undergo any atonement. Then the Vishnu Dutas are replying for that, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So the Vishnudutas, yesterday you studied that Sukdev Goswami Prabhupada said this, that Vishnudutas heard Yamdutas incomplete, in toto, did not interrupt Vishnudutas, Vishnudutas did not interrupt Yamdutas at all. And when Yamdutas were finished speaking, Vishnudutas are addressed as being very expert in logic and arguments, they replied. So this is how a communication is supposed to happen. That we don't speak over each other. We let the person finish and then we speak. So even though whatever Vishnudutas could have interrupted Yamdutas long ago, but they wanted to let Yamdutas finish speaking. And when they had nothing else to say, that's when Vishnudutas picked up. If we hear the conversation between Krishna and Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also could have interrupted Arjun so many times. At so many places, Krishna could have interrupted Arjun and said that this is not the appropriate question, but we don't study that. We study that Krishna did let Arjun finish his conversation. So one point is there are many things to learn out of it. Okay, so that when we do not cut the talk of another person, then we don't speak over their internal voice. Because when we are in a conversation, a healthy conversation, we're not trying to prove a point. We're trying to hear or listen each other, right? So Vishnudutas are showing that exemplary example, and they are expert in logic and arguments. They are expert in logic and argument. They could have won this long ago. And then the next thing is, after they say that they are expressing their regret that actually this particular assembly of Yamaraj is supposed to be an assembly of religion. A religion is supposed to be maintained, but irreligion has been introduced. So you are actually needlessly trying to punish a sinless, unpunishable person. So Lord, a compassion of a Vaishnava is glorified here, because from all aspects, Ajamil appears to be punishable. Just because he chanted one holy name, one time Narayan at the time of death, he becomes completely unpunishable, completely sinless, is a very difficult subject matter uh, to to understand for a conditioned soul, because we don't have that compassion. The conditioned soul lacks that compassion, because the conditioned soul has placed itself in an environment of competition, where who is trying to be more influential, who is trying to be more enjoyer, who is trying to be more famous, like that. This is a place of competition. So, but if we look at it from the eye of a pure devotee, or from the eye of a Vaishnava, Krishna is very, very kind. Krishna is looking for an opportunity to claim us back every minute. Krishna claimed Putana, gave him the position of Mother Yashoda. She came to kill him. Mother Yashoda never goes to Krishna to kill him. She came to kill him, and what he extracted out of Krishna, out of the Putana, is that she is my mother and she has come to feed me with her milk. She has done so much effort. We cannot explain this by argument and logic. We cannot explain that by our understanding, because Krishna is a Dhokshaja, he's Turiya, like he's beyond this three dimensions, or he's beyond the conception of Aksha, in which the Sanskrit language is maintained. So, but Vishnu Dutas are not conditioned souls. Vishnu Dutas are liberated souls. Vishnu Dutas are representative of Narayan. They are sent from Vishnu Lok, or they're sent from Vaikuntha Lok, to claim that soul which wants to be with Krishna. So we have a very good chance in a human form of life. If we somehow or other get attached to the holy name, that is sufficient, especially in this age. It is sufficient, but the question is, are we attached sufficiently? Are we attached to the holy name? So the religion, Prabhupada talks about in this particular purport, that they are emphasizing that in an assembly where religion is to be maintained, irreligion has been introduced. So the basic religion of a human being is to become a devotee of Krishna. Nate vidu swartagatim he Vishnu. This is Shastras are saying. I'm not saying it. They're saying if somebody has obtained a human form of life, then they need to work on moving themselves towards Krishna. There's nothing else. Everything else is a foreplay of the material energy in different forms, different shapes. Okay, let it happen. Okay, I'm not saying that fanatically fight all the odds and try to become something which we are not. No, what I'm trying to say is that we must not get so succumbed by the foreplay of the material energy and put more labels in our life, because I'm not the body. The body has no value. Soul has the value. And this is explained by Narad Muni. And I think we discussed this when he's explaining this to Nalakuver and Manigriv. When Narad Muni was going to punish Nalakuver and Manigriv, he thought he can just punish Nalakuver and Manigriv, right? But he thought that let me give them some food for thoughts, so that when they are standing as trees for so long, they will have something to think about. So let me give them some instructions. So that time, he gave this instruction to Nalakuver and Manigriv, where he was glorifying poverty. And he was saying that because on the false pretext of identifying oneself with the body, we do so many sinful acts. We don't hesitate. We don't hesitate to enjoy the senses at all. Nobody hesitates. Actually, it's taken as a pride, right? And how much enjoyment is there in one's life. There's no question of hesitation. No education is teaching it. No society is teaching it. No association is teaching it. everybody is teaching otherwise. So that's what we are imbibing if we are not on the path of Krishna consciousness. So Narad Muni states this to where many grieve that we, on the pretext of falsely identifying oneself with this material body, we do so much sinful activity. We kill other living entities to maintain this body, right? And then it says at the end of the day, the conversation is that the question is, who does this body really belong to? Who does this body really belong to? Does it belong to the mother because she could say that the body of a child is formed from the ingredients of the body of the mother? Does it belong to the mother? Or does it belong to the mother's father? Because he can say that these children are my daughter's children, so they are this is the product of my daughter, is the product of my body, so they are my children. Or they are product of the grandchildren are product of mine. So does it belong to the mother's father? Or does it belong to the fire? Because in some cult, when the soul leaves the body is offered to the fire. So does it belong to the fire? Or does it belong to the earth? Because in some cult, when the soul leaves the body is buried in the earth. Or does it belong to the wild animals? Because in some cults, when when the soul leaves the body is thrown away to be eaten by wild animals, vultures, dogs. Or does it belong to the microorganisms? Because sometimes when the body is buried in the earth, it becomes the waste product of these organisms, the microorganisms. So who does this body really belong to? Like that, if we try to figure out by our logic and argument, we will never be able to understand who does this body really belong to. Narad Muni gives this knowledge that actually it belongs to Krishna. We have been given this particular time span for a particular purpose, but forgetting that main purpose, if I'm going to go here, there, everywhere, then I am not fulfilling the responsibility or the main religion, the main responsibility of being in the human form of life. And then I'm going to die again. And then I'm going to have to come back again in a different form, in different, species to start the cycle all over. So it says this is irreligion. That is irreligion. But Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord in a very anxious state of mind at the last moment of his life, and he actually accomplished the mission of human form of life. He accomplished it. It's not easy. One may not do, we're not saying that, okay, now let's live like a Jamil and forgo all religious rules and regulations and just like be like that. That's not the main aim of explaining this particular pastime. The main aim of explaining this particular pastime is that if by chance also somebody chants the holy name of the Lord at the last moment, the holy name is so strong, the holy name stands above everything in this universe, that we are protected. So what to say of a person who's constantly chanting the holy name? What to say of the person? Okay, so it is very important that we actually use this time to actually increase our attachment and taste for chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Not like, okay, I have to somehow or other, meet the requirement of 16 rounds chanting a day. Then we are, that's also fine if somebody's life is like that, but try to adjust the life according to the principles of Krishna consciousness. If you can't, at least let's pray. Because Krishna can change anyone's trajectory of life. Look what he did to a Jamil. It was very clear that he was going to go to the hellish planets and suffer for purification. But nothing happened. He never went to the hellish planets. He actually came back to the body. He went to the Haridwar, sat on the bank of Mother Ganges, and then he became Krishna conscious. So we are in a very dicey situation in this world. All the Shastras are saying it. Krishna himself is saying it. All the Acharyas are saying it. So it is true that this particular age where we are and this particular place where we are is very unsafe. So it is a mistake to think that there is any kind of safety here. there's no safety. I remember once Namanish Prabhu gave this example that he gave this example that on a road when you're going, have you ever seen a truck carrying petrol and then there is this danger sign and it says stay away, flammable? Like, have you ever seen anything like this on the road when you're traveling?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
It
Mataji.
says stay
Yes,
away,
Mataji.
danger, right? It's
It is
flammable,
highly
stay away.
inflammable.
Right, highly
inflammable.
inflammable. Yeah. So, but so like that, so there is a danger, there is a warning there, right? Stay away, it's flammable object. So like that, he said, I remember that when we enter this material world, we get the warning from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Don't enter here because nobody comes out alive from this place. Nobody. Anybody who enters this place does not come out alive. So, but we still enter. So it's like, so now having entered, we cannot change the trajectory of the life. We cannot change the fact that I am going to die, but we can change that. What we can change is that I'm going to go back to Krishna. I'm going to give it my best shot. I am not going to come back to this horrible place again because I have a better place to be at. I have a better business to be engaged in. I have a better life waiting for me. So I'm going to train myself for that particular purpose while making the best use of wherever I'm situated. That is religion. Okay, that is religion. And here, Vishnudutas are trying to emphasize that you see all your arguments, all your logics, all your assessments, all your recollection of Ajamil's life, how he led his life is fine. But you're missing the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that he chanted the holy name of Narayan. So he is not punishable. He is not sinful. In fact, he is not, his sins from not only from this life, but all the lives are abolished because he chanted the holy name of Narayan. There is nothing more powerful than that. The acharyas are saying it very loudly. This is Sukdev Goswami reciting this pastime for our own benefit. That there is nothing which is more powerful than the holy name of the Lord. So why am I looking for something else? That is a question that I need to ask. Why am I looking for something else when I have something which is the most powerful in the entire universe? Everybody wants to chant the holy name of Krishna. We studied this, right? That the devatas are also wanting to chant the holy name of Krishna, but they are so distracted by the sanskarification that they actually want to take birth as a human being in India and want to chant the holy name. But if most of us have gotten that opportunity, then why are we wasting it? We are very fortunate. Every moment we are fortunate. We're extremely fortunate if we have this particular goal which has been given to us, and if we stick to it and if we stick to the process, so make our life most fortunate. Because in a devotee's life, there is no obstacle, there is only opportunity. If there is any reverse, yes, the reverses will come because we are in a war zone. It's a war zone. This place is a war zone. So the reverses will come. There will be so many reverses. But a devotee takes those reverses as opportunities. That here you go. I am again getting reminded that there is actually nothing else other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His holy name. And that's what I need to get attached to most. And then I'm safe. Because the body is going to end this way, that way, whatever way, it is going to end. But I can transfer myself to Krishna with the attachment of the holy name, which will not be touched by anything. Nothing can touch it, nothing can take away. Why? Because Krishna himself preserves it, right? He says, Yogakshema Vahami Aham, I preserve what you have and I bring what you lack. I think I'll stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections? So, question.